Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Scroll Halters with your host, Mitre Imaneni. This show is brought to you by Social Marketing Writing, an agency that helps B2B businesses with their social media marketing on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We also help businesses with their email marketing and SEO. Today, I'm joined by Mikael Dia, who is the founder and CEO of Funnelytics. And before that, he ran a performance marketing agency. And before that, he ran and sold a Mandarin teaching school in the UK. Hi, Mikhail.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, thank you.
So where are you joining us from?
Toronto, just outside of Toronto.
Okay. And yeah, my first question for you is, what do you think is the main difference between running a SaaS company versus a performance marketing agency as you've done both?
Yeah, well, first of all, one, you're selling a service. The other one, you're selling a software, which is basically an automated service, or hopefully your software does something that a end user needs to kind of take off of their plate. So there's that fundamental aspect, right? The service aspect requires a lot more human capital, a lot more human resources, because at the end of the day, you need to deliver an outcome. The biggest challenge whenever you're selling services is you're always looking at the end result, and that end result for businesses, especially if you're selling, marketing services, they only care about sales leads. They only care about actually, is this generating revenue? Is there a return on the investment of the service? And it's a lot more challenging to build everything you need to build in order to get that end result, in order to get that revenue for that client, versus a software is really there to do a single piece of the entire puzzle. So, for example, when we look at a software like Funnelytics, what is the purpose of Funnelytics? Well, it's to help you analyze your marketing data, to help you analyze your traffic, what's working versus what's not. And if it does that job very, very well, then people stick and use that software. Does it need to translate into ROI? Yes, to some degree it does. It has to translate to some ROI when it comes to time or even money. However, the job that software does starts and ends with, can it help me analyze my marketing data, right? Versus when I'm looking at a service, again, my job starts and ends as, what is everything I need to do in order to drive traffic and convert that traffic into customers. And that can be very, very overwhelming. And not all businesses are created equal, and all of these things. So I would say fundamentally that is one of the biggest differences in terms of what it takes to run a marketing agency versus what it takes to build a software company. Now, there's also all sorts of other nuances from an operational standpoint. The nice advantage of the agency model is that I can sell a service tomorrow and figure out how to deliver it the next day. I can't do that with software. I have to build the software first and then sell it, and then eventually, people will stick and retain and all of that stuff. So there's this slight difference in that way, that it's very, very, resource and capital intensive to build a software, versus it's much more human intensive, and human capital is required on the service side.
It's much quicker to see a return on the agency side, but with SaaS it takes a bit longer. The
Oh,
ones
for
it's
sure.
much more scalable.
Exactly. It's much more scalable, but there is always challenges. SaaS, you can't charge as much on the SaaS side, you compared to services. It's scalable, but only after a certain tipping point does it actually really start to boil over. So it both present a lot of challenges.
Okay. And Funnelytics is a sort of tool that can help businesses do that, can it not? with growing a SaaS company or even an agency?
Yeah, I mean, Funnelytics is a tool that helps you understand what's happening with your marketing at the end of the day, right? It's a tool that helps you visualize how your traffic is actually converting into leads and customers for your business. So, of course, if you are a SaaS company and your goal is free trials and you want to get people into your free trial or for a demo for your software, well, how are you driving traffic? How are those different pages converting? What is the journey that these people are taking before getting onto a demo or starting a trial? Where are those bottlenecks? What can you optimize? Basically, Funnelytics helps you really visualize all of that and helps answers those questions so that you can, be a better marketer.
Okay. Did you have sort of an internal version of an exclusive version of Funnelytics for your own agency, and then you decided to share it with everyone? Is it how Funnelytics came about?
Sort of. So Funnelytics came about because it was a problem that I was facing. So what I would basically do and help try to do with all my clients is I would visualize the strategy that we would build for them. And I would use a whiteboard or, a diagramming tool and kind of show them that, we're going to take Facebook ads and Google ads and blog posts, and it's going to go and drive traffic over to this sales page or landing page, and people are going to put in their name and email, and there's going to be email follow-ups, and I would kind of visualize that entire strategy. But then when it came to, okay, how do I report results on this, right? How do I show where the bottlenecks are? I mean, it's easy to kind of report on, oh, well, we had 6,000 people visit that page. We had, 13 purchases. Here's my conversion rate. But if I want to optimize that conversion rate, I have to understand all of the steps in between and the flows that people went through. And it was very, very hard to communicate that to my client. So I decided, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I could just visualize this strategy, but then actually be able to overlay the data on top of this map and show people, okay, well, these are the conversion rates when people go from here to here. This is basically the bottleneck, and that's what we ended up building. So we built Funnelytics initially for ourselves as the agency, and then as the platform started to grow and pick up steam, we kind of transitioned full into just growing the software.
Okay. And the sort of person, I mean, the sort of person who uses Funnelytics, are they mostly agencies or do a lot of in-house teams use Funnelytics?
Yeah, it's both. It's agencies and in-house marketers. It's very much dependent on the actual person more so than the industry per se. It's who is that person who's ultimately accountable to make these data-driven decisions. Who is the person who's accountable to, getting the insights, looking at the numbers, and basically making decisions and say, hey, we could do this or we could do that, right? Like that is the main person. And some agencies are very content focused, for example, or they're brand agencies, and they don't really look at numbers from a performance standpoint like that. So a tool like Funnelytics will become a lot less relevant to them, and it wasn't designed for them. On the flip side, you could have a very performance driven marketer in an in-house team, and that person will use a tool like Funnelytics to help them make better decisions, understand where they're spending their money, what's working with their traffic, and all that stuff.
Okay. And what sort of funnels would you say are working in the current market?
Oh, that's a very loaded question, I would say. I guess it depends. What are we talking about here? What market? What's the purpose? What's the offer? Like I think there's a lot of variables to that question. Fundamentally, all funnels are composed or comprised of three core things. The first is lead gen. You need to just collect people's names and emails so that you can follow up with them. You need to, basically take traffic that you've either earned or that you've paid for and make it your own traffic and by collecting people's names and emails. Um, Second is, funnels or things that are more on the education basis. So We need to then nurture those leads and basically educate them on our offer. And then third is the sales component of the actual funnel itself, whether it's a sales page, a sales video, something that sells the offer. And usually that offer is either schedule a call with us, or it's go to this order form and buy something. Um, those are the kind of core foundational blocks to any funnel. Now the question is, well, what is the end goal? What is the offer? Am I trying to get somebody on a demo for a software? Am I trying to get a free trial that then eventually converts into a paid membership? Am I trying to get somebody on a phone call for a $15,000 coaching program? All of those things, you work backwards from the offer to understand what journey are we building in order to get somebody to that end outcome.
Okay. And do you have any sort of preferred source of traffic?
Again, it very much depends on the funnel, and it very much depends on the audience. Personally, I've always preferred paid traffic. Now, where you pay for that traffic, whether it's Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, Reddit, or something else, um, it depends on where your ideal customer and ideal buyer hang out, right? Are they hanging out on Facebook? Are they searching for a solution on Google? Are they more on the B2B side and hanging out on LinkedIn? But the reason I prefer paid over anything else is that it's the fastest to learn, right? I can go and spend some money and learn very, very quickly if it's working or not, versus something like um, partnerships are a great source of traffic, but it takes a long time to build partnerships and to get that referral coming in. Similarly, when it comes to content or social media, yeah, you can create a really big flywheel with content, but it takes time, and you don't learn as fast as you could. Um, the reason I love paid is because I love numbers. I love to be able to see, is this working? Is it not working? How do we iterate as quickly as possible? So I always lean towards paid ads.
Yeah,
That's just my preference, though. Not saying one is better than the other.
no, another thing I find is sometimes a lot of people like to start with organic.
Yeah.
And what happens is they think that they can validate the offer with organic traffic, and then they serve the same offer to cold traffic with ads, and it flops.
hmm
Because it's not always that if your offer works with warm traffic, it's going to work with cold traffic.
Um, no, that's not necessarily the case. So there's a very big difference between validating an offer and validating and figuring out the funnel for that offer. So I would never ever recommend somebody like use ads to validate an offer, right? Because the offer itself is what people pull out their credit card for. And we need to validate whether or not people are willing to pull out their credit card for it, whether or not they get value from it, and all of that stuff. You should always be looking at what is the lowest hanging fruit in order for me to validate this offer. So do I have an email list already that I can send emails to and get people on the phone? Do I have existing customers that I can pitch this offer to? So I should always aim, do I have an existing network of people that I can reach out to? I should always aim to validate an offer. And to me, an offer is not validated unless I've sold it at least 10 times. And once I've sold it at least 10 times, regardless of how I sold it, regardless of whether it was through LinkedIn outreach to my audience or sending out a bunch of emails to get people on the phone with me, uh, that validation, having those conversations, is the only way for me to know, am I hitting the right message? Am I hitting the right pain points? Is it positioned in a way that people really care about? Once the offer is validated, now I can start to think about, okay, how am I going to get a consistent flow of opportunities to sell this offer? And this is where having a funnel and having paid advertising is super important. However, you're 100% correct that the way I sold on organic, the offer, if I have a friend or somebody who's been a customer for the last 5 years, that sale is very, very easy because they know me, they trust me, they like me, they know that what I do is of quality. They're still not going to buy if the offer doesn't resonate with them. However, the sale is very, very easy. When I go to cold and I go to a paid ad, well, they don't know me. They don't trust me. They don't know who I am. So that's why people think it flops, but it's not that the offer is flopping, it's that the funnel itself is flopping and you haven't created the right funnel to get people to that offer.
Okay. And so you think that any funnel would work as long as you have a good offer?
No, not any funnel would work as long as I have a good offer. There is a funnel that you can build to sell the offer, right? So that's not the same as any funnel will work in order to sell that offer. There is a funnel. If you have the right offer and the right audience, there is a funnel that you can build that can target that audience to sell them and position that offer in a way that they will want to buy, right?
Okay.
How? For example, it could be a webinar, and you could test a webinar, and a webinar completely bombs, right? Versus you could test something very different, and it will work quite well. Give you a very specific example here. Uh, I remember when I was running my agency, we really struggled to find people who wanted our service. We weren't able to figure out how to position it. We tested all sorts of different ways. We used Facebook ads, sent people to a webinar, did like a 45, 60-minute webinar. People would join, but nobody would ever schedule a call with us. We created a bunch of content and sent people to the content. We created like video series. Like we created all sorts of stuff and all sorts of different types of funnels to try and get people to schedule a call for our service. And one day we realized, okay, this isn't working, but why? Why is it not working? And we asked ourselves a very simple question. It was myself and my business partner. We asked ourselves a very simple question. If we were in the shoes of these potential customers, these potential buyers who wanted a service that was ultimately done for them, what would we not want? And what was interesting is we talked about that, and it was my partner at the time who said, "Well, I certainly wouldn't want to like sit through a 60-minute webinar. If you're going to do the service for me, why would I want to learn about how the service works? Why would I want to waste 60 minutes of my time? I'm looking for somebody to do it for me. I don't want to download your white paper or your checklist or like none of that matters. I want to know A, do you understand my problem? B, do you have a solution? C, do you have proof that that solution can work? And D, let's get on a call to find if we're a good fit, right? So we kind of used that thought process to build a brand new funnel where we used ads going directly to a video that really answered those kind of four core questions. It was a short video, direct to the point, and all of a sudden our calendar started filling up and we were able to kind of start closing people. So it wasn't that the offer was wrong. It also wasn't even that the audience was wrong. It's the mechanism in which we tried to get that audience to go to the offer that was wrong. And as we started experimenting with new ones, we found one that, oh, this is working. People are resonating and flowing through. And that's kind of the mindset. Does that make
So
sense?
it makes sense. So it's you were using an ad and you would send them directly to a VSL. No need to opt into the VSL. You get to see it directly. And after
Correct.
that, they can click on a button on the page and go to another page where they can schedule a call.
You got it.
Okay. Yeah, I think, yep, that was great. Thank you for sharing that. Could you please tell our listeners where they can learn more about you and Funnelytics?
Yeah, no problem. So funnelytics.io, if you're a marketing executive, a marketing specialist who cares about numbers and cares about performance, you can check out funnelytics.io. And if you want to learn more about me or follow me or see some of my cool content, check out my LinkedIn.
Okay. Okay, everyone, yeah, check out Funnelytics. I've tried it and it's quite a good software, especially when I want to visualize my funnel and do the funnel math to make sure it works. And also check out Mikael's newsletter. I believe he's got something like 40,000 subscribers.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Bye.
My
See you in
pleasure.
another episode.
Thank you for having me.